Hey folks, I'm Gary Carlin, owner of Mosses Creek Outdoors. I'm out here in the wonderful outdoors this morning, and come September every year, my number one focus is mowing for wildlife. I've got a lot of ground where I spent my life growing up here, and I'm thankful to still be hanging out here today. It's a real blessing to still be where I was at when I was a kid. But I've got 3930 Ford tractor. Got 4 of these tractors here on the place. It takes a lot sometime to keep up with things and keep ground cut and roads graded and trails raked and pretty much you name it. But today behind this tractor, I've got the New Holland 451 Sickle Mower hay cutter. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over it, the hay cutter it is, and I thought I would show you a few things about it. If you got one, or if you're thinking about getting one in the future, they're not real complicated at all to maintain and work on once you learn about them. There's just very few, just real simple moves as far as the maintenance on them, and 3 or 4 different things you need to keep a check on, and some things that you can do as far as making different adjustments to make the mower run like it should run. So I'm gonna go over it a little bit, and I'm gonna get out here and I'm actually gonna cut a little more ground with it. I done got a good bit here cut, so I'm gonna get on with it here, and I'm gonna show you in more depth about this mower. All right, this is a 451 New Holland 7-foot sickle mower. I'm just going to show you a few things here about it. This has been a really good mower for me. It has. It'll slice ground down in a hurry. Now what I'm doing exactly here, I got another field behind me done cut, but I'm not going to spin around. I don't actually bale the hay off of this. I cut it and just let it rot because I want it off the ground for the wildlife. I used to have some folks come in here to bale it, but I don't do that no more. So I just cut it, let it lay. And me cutting it with this sickle mower is a whole lot faster than bush hogging. You got to wait on that bush hog to chew everything up. And when it comes to this sickle mower like this here, you're just running right under it, right at the ground, and clipping it off. And usually, where you know for sure you're not going to hit nothing, you can run on pretty fast, and a lot of times it seems like if you can run a little bit faster, the mower cuts better, as long as your blade is sharp or in shape like it should be. Again, this is a 7-foot. What I did do, I think I've been using it 3 years now, and this is the original blade or bar with the cutters or the knives on it coming out through here that was on it when I got it. And I replaced 3 teeth right out, or blades right out here on the end, to where I hung some couple of saplings last year that was a little too big, and I snapped the tip end of those blades off. But a lot of people think it's real confusing when you go to take this blade off or take just the cutter out, which it's not. Once you learn to do it, you can do it just in a few minutes. When you look at it, you may think that each one of these clips right here has to come off. I've had those off just for doing different maintenance and stuff before, but you don't have to take those off to take this blade out. And I'm going to show you. You can't see it, really. Well, you might can. Alright, you see where that end of the bar goes right there? There's a bolt that goes right through here. You got to take that one bolt out. And when you take the tractor and lift the mower up, you grab the end of that cutter and slide it all the way out. It goes out that way underneath the mower and comes out over there on the other side. And then you just take a hammer and hit those knives on that bar on the back edge against something solid, and they'll pop the brads, and they'll come right off. And then you just lay your new knife up here, put 2 new brads through it, and hammer them down. Put them up from the bottom side and brad them down on the top. That's the way all these are anyway. Take your bar, come out the other side, and slide it right back all the way up in. And then put that bolt back in down there. But it don't take but just a few minutes to do that. It took me longer to do it the first time I ever done it. But, of course, I guess that's kind of natural, taking longer on the first time. But it don't take, like I say, but a few minutes now. Another thing I'm going to jump to here is one thing I like about the 451. It's got the belt on it. There's a yellow news bee flying around here. You can probably hear him buzzing. Right there he is. That's always a sign of good news. It's what all the old folks used to say. But anyway, the belt, you shouldn't have over 1 inch of play in either direction. Really, that's best. It'll do its best job cutting. And I'm going to show you, my belt was a little bit loose and I tightened it up here this morning. I'm going to show you how to tighten it up real quick. Come right around on this side. You see this bolt right here, it's got a hook on top of it. It's connected to this head. Come right down on the bottom side, and it's a 3/4 wrench. See, you got these 2 nuts, and you got a kind of a piece of, like a round piece of rod stock right up under the bottom of that, and that bolt's going through that. But you loosen this bottom nut. Loosen it, back it all the way down, and when you put your wrench on this top nut, turn it to the right to tighten, and that's gonna do this effect with that bolt, and it's gonna take this whole head that this belt's on, and it's gonna cock it back this way. And it don't take just a few seconds there to tighten your belt up. But that's plain and simple. It's got several grease fittings on it. Of course, on the PTO shaft, it's got a couple around the head right here, and then right out here you need to keep pretty close check on. You see, you got two bearings right here, and there's 2 more. Well, one right there, and then there's another one down in here. There's 4 of them. Each one of these has got a grease fitting on them, so you need to make sure and keep that grease good. And then there's one on the side of this spindle right down here. Another thing I'm going to mention is a lot of people wonders what happens if you hit something. You know, if you hit a small tree, a sapling, or hit a stump, or hit anything, what happens? Well, this is another good thing about the 451 New Holland. You know, your old sickle cutters had a wooden rod down here on the bottom that worked in this motion to do the cutting. Which again, here you got the turning of the belt. But when I hit something, as I have, and there's no worry with that. You see this thing right here? Well, this part right here sets right up in behind that right there. Well, if you hit something with this cutter out here, that trips out. And this whole cutter swings straight back behind the tractor back here. That deal I had my finger on snaps out of place. And the whole cutter, the body of it and everything comes around straight behind the tractor. And then what you do, you let your lift all the way down to the ground and back up. And that pulls the whole mower back around and it snaps back into place. Otherwise, you can back up against a tree, put the tree about halfway of the cutter right here and back into it. And that just snaps right back in up there and right on the way you go. So that's just a few things I was going to hit on about the 451 New Holland Sickle Mower. One of the main things I can say is just when you're out, be careful. You know, be safe. Don't get hurt. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, plus by myself a lot of times, if I hadn't grew up the way that I did. You know, when I was small, I done a lot of, you know, hands-on and harder type work than some folks do today, and I was exposed to a lot, to say, older school type stuff. And I can't remember the first time that my granddad ever put me on a tractor and let me drive it by myself, but I can tell you, I was not very old at all. So I've been messing with this stuff all my life, and I don't know, I probably got 20 different pieces of equipment to go behind a tractor. I've got 3 bush hogs, but I'd just rather use this when it comes to cutting these fields. And I know, based upon experience, that still has really a lot to do with it. It's just, you know, anything can happen at any time, far as getting hurt or something happening that shouldn't have happened. But just play it safe, you know, and think about things, you know, and just don't get hurt. It's all fun, but getting bad hurt, it ain't worth it. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna pick out a spot I'm gonna cut. Going into this next field here. If you can see it or not, I got a hunting blind right there. This stuff is a lot bigger and a lot taller in this field. I've done got way up on the other end already cut. I got to cut this end down here. But I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut this spot right up across in front of this big shooting house right here, and I'm gonna kind of show you how I do it, because once this grass gets so big like this is out here, it don't usually just fall over flat in a blanket like it does, you know, when it's smaller. So I'm gonna kind of show you the pattern how I run when I mow this big stuff. Alright, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the mower and I'm gonna run right up in front of this shoot house, up toward that big cypress tree up here, and I'm gonna turn and come back. And I'm gonna make a couple of passes and I'm gonna kind of show you the pattern, how I'm running with the mower to get everything cut. Because like I say, when this grass gets so big, you can't necessarily tell exactly everything that's been cut and what hasn't. So I'm gonna just show you here. Alright, that's 4 more width. That's a 28-foot wide strip. I'm going to jump over a little bit further over here and I'm going to mow 2 more strips. And I'm going to show you just exactly after I run down on one pass how I'm coming back. What direction and on which side. Now another reason that I'm going more down the mid to mid side part of the field like this is because I'm never going to go over here and run the very edge first. That's because I'm looking and I'm leery about a hornet's nest. I've been in them down here before and I'm going to do everything that I got to prevent it from happening again. It was a rough case, I can tell you. But yellow jackets too, but yellow jackets, I don't have near problem with them mowing with a sickle mower as I do with a bush hog. It's like a bush hog just blows them up out of the ground or something. So, but I'm just on the lookout for a hornet's nest. I'll come along, and as I go up and down out here, I'll be looking at all the trees and the limbs on the edges. I'm searching for one, trying to see one before I get close to it. And I'm gonna really search the area out before I get close to it. So I'm gonna move over here and show you the other, what I was talking about. That's a 2 mowers width. That's a 14-foot lane up through there. Now, whether you noticed exactly or not, what I done, I made the first pass. And when I got down there and turned around and come back, I was running the tractor on top of what I just cut. And then the mower was cutting what I drove the tractor over the first time. So this grass on this side of the bottom here, it's falling over a little bit better than it usually does. But a lot of times I'll cut some of this big grass, it's so big that it won't fall over. It'll just keep standing there when I slide under it and cut it off because it's so matted up. But that's the only way that I can tell for sure that it's cut off, is to do it as far as that example right there that I just showed you. And then I'll just jump over on each side, go down one side and then come back up the other side. And then so I kind of run back and forth like that through the middle at first, instead of running all the way around. It's like circles going around the outside edge. If you keep running around the outside edge when this grass is this big, eventually you'll lose your judgment. You won't be able to tell where to go. You won't be able to tell, you know, where your mower's been and where it hasn't. So I just thought I would run over the subject as far as the 451 New Holland Sickle mower. Appreciate you watching. I'm Garen Carlin, Moss's Creek Outdoors, and we'll see you